Hi there, this is Riz Khan, and in this video I'm going to walk you through a set of images that I've drawn based on listening to Tony Robbins on the concept of business leadership. So let's begin. This here represents your business and where it is today, and this is where you want to transform your business to by getting some explosive growth. So what does that mean? Well, a business is a direct reflection of where you're at. So if your business is here, that's because you as a leader are also here. So if you want to transform your business to all the way up here, then you yourself are also going to need to be transformed into the new you. So let's get a little deeper into this concept. Tony says that businesses transform based on the decisions that are made. So a leader, you as the leader of your business, will make certain decisions, and as a result of those decisions, you look to transform your business from where it is here all the way to up here. So that all seems logical, right? You'll have certain problems inside your business. You'll make these certain, resolutions. You'll solve those problems by making certain decisions. And then as a result of all of these decisions, your business will go a certain direction. And if they're good decisions, if they're the right decisions, your business will start to transform higher. If they're not so good decisions, well, your business may go the other way. So how do we make sure that we're making the right decisions, or we have the best probability of making the right decisions? Tony says that there's two forces that impact and influence your decisions, and that is state and your blueprint. Your state is how you are moment to moment, right? Day to day, how you're feeling today, how you're feeling in this moment. If you're feeling in a high state and you're feeling awesome, then you're going to make some pretty awesome decisions, or I should say you're going to have a much higher probability of making some pretty good decisions. On the other hand, if you've had a certain trigger that's triggered you the wrong way and you're feeling shit right now, then your decisions are going to be of that same quality. So that's state. Whereas blueprint here, that's more your longer term. State's your short term, your moment to moment, and blueprint's your longer term. This is more your longer term beliefs and values and rules. So whatever your beliefs are, whatever your beliefs are, whatever your values are, whatever your rules are, they kind of have an impact on the decisions that you make. So let me just summarize this slide and we'll move on to the next set of pictures. Essentially, a leader with the correct state and blueprint will make the appropriate decisions to transform his business from where it is today to where it wants to be. And that's because he himself will start to transform from where he is to where he wants to be. The last part of this video, or the last part of this image, is that Tony says that a business, any business in its essence, is just two things: innovation and marketing. And that itself was an insight for me. All the marketing and all the numbers and all the other activities are secondary. In its core, in its essence, a business needs to innovate some great value for its customers and then tell the customers all about it. Let's move on. Let's move on to this next image. And let me just get the focus of it right. Let me just zoom in a little bit and let's see, zoom back a bit. Let's see, and that should be right. Hopefully you can see that well on your screen. In this video, in this part of the video, in this image, what I'm trying to represent here is that this is you. You've got the leader. And essentially what do leaders do? Leaders solve problems. They make some decisions, but they essentially solve problems. Let's just look at your whole team before I go over this. Who are all the players here? Well, you've got yourself, the leader. You've got all the resources. So you've got your team, you've got time, you've got money, you've got all your resources. Then you've got your products, and then you've got your clients that you serve. So how does this circle evolve? Essentially, you, the leader, you make certain decisions, and your decisions are such that you look to influence your people so that they're also in the right state to make good decisions. You look to maximize your resources in such a way that you can innovate new products and services, that you can innovate high value products and services. And these products and services need to create massive value for your clients, who will then use those products and services, and it will increase the standard of their life. And from that, your clients will then give you feedback on your products and services. They'll give you feedback, and as a response to that feedback, your clients are essentially creating problems, or I should say opportunities, right? And these problems and opportunities, again, come into you as a leader to solve. So your clients create the opportunities. You solve those problems / opportunities, or you take advantage of those opportunities by making the decisions to again influence your resources and maximize your resources, to again innovate the right products and services that again create massive value for your clients. And your clients continue to give you the opportunities. You continue to take advantage of those opportunities by making the right decisions, and this circle just continues to progress. Tony didn't draw it like this, but this is sort of what I've drawn in terms of my understanding and my learning from that. What comes from this is then, when you innovate, how do you actually innovate? Well, Tony talks about anticipation, right? You need to be able to anticipate and forecast the market, and you do that via pattern recognition. So if this was your version 1 product, then you need to recognize what's going to be your version 2 product, and you need to recognize where's the market going, what's the next thing that the market's going to be looking for. And that is how your product evolves, how your product or service evolves. Let me just bring this back and just make it a bit smaller. Yep. So again, you're in this cycle here where you're solving problems, you're making certain decisions to maximize your resources, who then innovate awesome products that create massive value for your clients. Your clients continue to give you new opportunities, and you continue to take advantage of those opportunities by the decisions that you make. So let's just look closer at this what impacts your decisions. So I spoke about this on just the previous image, but I'll speak a little bit more about it here again. Repetition is the mother of skill. So the two forces that impact your decision-making power, these two forces are state and blueprint. Your state is your moment to moment, how you're feeling in this very moment. And your blueprint is your long-term beliefs, values, and rules. So you need to be in the right state and have the right blueprint to be able to make the appropriate decisions that are then going to be able to influence your people. So if you're going to influence someone, you need to also understand their state and their blueprint. If you know their state and their blueprint, and you can influence their state and their blueprint, and you can get them into the right state, then you'll be sure that you've got a high probability of them making the right decisions as well. If your decisions are impacted by these two forces, then what does that mean? That means that you need to be in the right state before making decisions. And this is a triangle that Tony uses, where state can be how to get into the right state. Well, state can change based on either your physiology or your focus and the meaning. So physiology, your physical physiology, so you can start jumping up and down and start jumping around and putting on a huge smile on your face, and that will change your internal state. Alternatively, you can decide what you focus on. If you're focusing on the positive, that will again impact your state. If you're focusing on the negative outcome and what this may mean in a negative way, that again will impact your state. And the third thing that impacts your state is the meaning that you give words. So a particular word may be inferred by different people in different ways. And depending on the meaning that you're giving that and how you're internalizing that word, that again will impact your state. But here what I'm trying to say is that because these two forces, because state impacts your decisions, then therefore you should first get into the right state before making the decisions. And I heard an example of this in my mastermind. I'm part of a mastermind. And one of the guys in the mastermind clearly said that before every meeting, he gets into the right state. He goes through this priming exercise, and that allows him to get into the right state so that he can make the right decisions. So again, get in the right state before making your decisions. Let's move on to the last image here. And let me just focus it in so that you can see that correctly. This image talks about the training effect and how people learn and how you should master your learning. So Tony breaks it down to three types of people. You've got the dabbler, the stressor, and the master. What the dabbler does, whenever you learn a new skill, right, at the starting of the skill, it always goes up. You always get some very good progress for, little effort. You make a little bit of effort and you get some great progress. But then what happens is as you continue to make lots more effort, you get zero progress. And this here is called the plateau. So it's your line of, in terms of reward, you get this reward, but all of a sudden it starts to plateau out. So Again, think about this something in your life when you've learned a new skill. Immediately when you're learning that skill, you get a lot of progress, whether that's a new sport. When you first pick it up, you make some small changes and you're getting a lot of progress with very little effort. But then all of a sudden it plateaus out. When it plateaus out, whatever decision you make at that point, that's going to define you from whether you're a dabbler, a stressor, or a master. What does a dabbler do when this plateaus out? Look, just before that, it plateaus out for everybody, right? This is common. This is how it happens for everybody, where initially you make some progress and then it plateaus out. But when it plateaus out, the person that is a dabbler, the person that's got this personality of being a dabbler, he quits. He moves on. He looks for a new sport or a new thing to do. When he goes to that new thing, same thing happens. He starts off, it plateaus out, and then all of a sudden he says, nope, this is not for me. Same thing happens. It starts off, it plateaus out, and he goes, nope, this is not for me. So he just changes from one to another. But because his personality, the decision that he's making at this point is to quit and move on to something else, he never gets past that point. He always just goes from one to another. He's a continuous quitter. So it's probably not where you want to be, and you don't want these people on your team either. So what does a stressor do? Let's look at the stressor. Same story, right? The stressor starts off to learn a new skill, whatever that skill is. He gets some great progress at the start with little effort, but then all of a sudden it plateaus out. But with the stressor, he wants to work it out. He's determined to get through. So he tries this, he tries that, he tries all a bunch of things. He's just trial and error, and eventually, bang, it breaks through. He breaks through that, which is just awesome, right? Then he breaks through, but again, he gets to a certain point where it plateaus out because life continues to give you new challenges and you continue to grow. So this is the growth path. So it plateaus out, and then again, the stressor goes into his personality and his tool, and he just starts to trial and error. Whoops, what's happened there? Trial and error, tries this, tries that, doesn't work, tries something else, doesn't work, tries something else, doesn't work, keeps on going, and bang, eventually he works it out and he breaks through. And that's completely through the trial and error. So that's great. That's great with the stressor. He is making progress, but the problem here is that he's stressed. All this trial and error takes a lot of effort, and by the time you get up here, you're going to be pretty tired. So what does the master do? Well, the master takes a different approach. The master, again, he faces the same thing. He tries a new skill, he's learning a new skill, and he makes some great progress. Then it comes up here and it plateaus out. At that point of time, the master goes out and finds himself a coach. He finds the pathway forward. Instead of in the stressor where he was in here just trialing error, just randomly trialing things to try and break through, the master's a bit more precision guided, where he actually goes and finds the appropriate pathway. He does that by finding someone who's traveled the path. And then he travels that same path. He finds a coach that's traveled the path, that's solved the problem that this person's trying to solve, that's already up here, that where he wants to be. And he finds that coach and he gets mentoring off him, or he finds that appropriate path, and then he learns from him to how to progress. There's one thing to recognize here though. When he finds a coach, the coach tells him to do certain things. And when he does that, when he follows that, his progress actually initially goes down. That's how it is, because he was comfortable in doing it a certain other way, and that's what made him up here. But now he has to change his approach, maybe change the way he's holding his racket, and that makes his progress move down a little bit. Sometimes you've got to take 2 steps back to move forward. And I've experienced this myself when I was learning how to touch type. I type a certain speed, but then when I started learning the process of touch typing, my speed of typing decreased dramatically. But then after a while, as you correctly learn that skill, it just takes off. And that's what happens here with the master. He learns this new skill based on his coach's information, and as he starts to learn it, his progress initially decreases, but he understands and accepts that that's part of the learning process. But once he masters that, bang, he breaks through. And again, then another challenge comes. Again, he plateaus out. Again, he finds the right coach to get him through this. And then again, his progress goes down a little bit, but then bang, he breaks through. And this is where you want to be. So just summarizing this last final picture, you have the dabbler, you have the stressor, and you have the master. We all go through this phase here where we're progressing forward in the initial stages of learning a new concept. And we all go through this second phase where it starts to plateau out. But then the decision that you make at this very point is what defines you from being a dabbler versus a stressor or a master. If at this point you decide to quit, you're a dabbler and you're never really going to get there. If at this point when you get to this point, you decide to just try things in trial and error, then you may eventually get there, but it may take a decade, and you're going to be very tired and stressed by the end of that. But if here, when you get to this point, you decide to go and find a coach and find a pathway, find someone that's already traveled that path and learn from him, that's going to be your fastest way to get further. We want to get further faster. So when you do that, when you find a coach, your progress will go down, but when you initially learn to master that progress, then your progress will explode through. And that, my friends, is the training effect and how to break through. So this concludes my video. I hope that's been helpful to you. Just quickly summarizing it, the video was about leadership, business leadership, as taught by Tony Robbins. Initially, we spoke about what it takes to get your business from here to here, and we spoke very much about that's also about transforming yourself. And the decisions that a leader makes will move his business from where it is today to where it wants to be. Then we spoke about what's the real role of a leader. The role of a leader is about solving problems. These problems or opportunities come from the clients, and as the leader solves these problems, he will make certain decisions that are impacted by these two forces of state and blueprint. So with the right state and the right blueprint, the leader will make these decisions, and he'll be able to influence his team to also make the right decisions. He'll be able to maximize these resources in such a way that he'll innovate awesome products. He'll innovate these awesome products that create massive value for his clients. His clients will use those products to increase the value of their life, and in return, they'll give him more opportunities. As they give more opportunities, the cycle will continue where the leader then continues to take advantage of those opportunities, making, again, more massive products that give massive value to his clients. And then lastly, we went over the different types of learning, the dabbler, the stressor, and the master. I hope this video has been helpful to you. Thank you for listening.